Okay, well, let's have a look at this game that I played as a as a white side of the Sicilian, and I won. It's pretty theoretical, and let's see what's happened here. Okay, as white side, he plays a fairly standard Sicilian, and then he goes the dragon, goes dragon. Well, and I accept the challenge accepted, as I say. Let's just play a main Sicilian against the dragon. These are all fairly standard move in a dragon. Like playing the main line here, you can play either bc4 and or castle on castle. They are both loop, both castle. He play now in this your a d5 is the main move. Or let's have a look at the main variant just for curiosity. d5, ed5, knight d5, knight c6 would be bc6, bishop d4, e5, bc5, bc, knight e4, rook e8, and only now h4. Well, would I be able to play this in a... I don't know. Well, it's actually very interesting that only now, well, now for instance, ace4 is not even considered here. Is there a threat I don't see? Ah, of course, because you don't want to accept the exchange. Of course, bishop. Yeah, this all seems fairly well. Now that's interesting that you would want to do that. Oh, that's very incredibly theoretical. I wouldn't think bishop f8 is something that you never play here. But there are no people do not play. Now that's incredibly interesting. So there are a lot of visits, but no, I can hardly believe I would end up in at my level, and anybody would even play like this. So let's keep it. Let's go on the main round. Bishop d7 is the third move in this position. Played in a lot of games. Bishop c4 main move, perfect. rc8 main move, perfect. Bishop b3. a6, probably this is a loss. This is a now. It seems that that's a very uncommon move here, because in this position, knight e5, knight d4, knight a5. With now the main move here is knight e5, h4, h5, bishop g5. Really? Bishop g5? Not g4. Well, g4 is possible, but not good. Bishop g5. Rook c5, king b1, b5, g4, a5, gh5. Now let's see, h4, h6, bishop h8, h. Wow. Well, no, there's a lot of possibility here, so I wouldn't want to. I don't want. Well, there's a lot of branching, but well, let's uh, let's keep it real. 5 knight e5. Well, okay. Or also knight d4 is possible. That's also looks good. b5, try knight d5, bishop g5, king g5. Well, of course, it's very theoretical, and we have to know what to do. I think this deserves a question mark, because that's too slow. Well, I know in this position you actually h4 is probably stronger because it's already goes for the throat. Let's see. In fact, h4. That's h5. Well, then you want to play b1 anyway, so it's probably in the end it's pretty much the same. Okay, I don't even want to delete remaining moves. But it's after king b1. Yeah, there is still fairly main line, so knight a5, and it's still equal. So, well, of course, after here I play knight e5. Io played rook d1 because I had a lot of bad experience having keeping the king on c1, so just to take it this position I take to b1 the sooner the better. Well, h4 or g4. No, interesting that a4 is stronger than g4. G4 is subpar. No, why did g4 is subpar? But h4, well, you generate h4 because you can answer g5. So then you have g4. Oh, get lost. And it's really kind of embarrassing. Well, what if you take h5? Ah, yes, that's a thing. Rook dg1. And still is kind of rook dg1. So it gives it's better for what? It's actually better for black, you say? Okay, but let's say it is equal. Basically goes g4. Well, of course. Well, best try is b5. Quickest advance as possible. Okay, I'll be right back. b5, h4. Interesting. There are a lot of visits, but not that many actual games played because it's an outrageously often analyzed variant. This the game dragons, as you find it, and a lot of manuals. I saw when I began studying chess. I always saw in many books games about the dragon, but in, well, yes, it's interesting. Yes, that is in this position. There are so many people. So b4 is actually annoyed, and then you play knight d5. Well, in the end, is probably equal. Is it? He said it's not. Well, it's just what better for black, maybe. Well, in the end, not b5 is not the h3 probably, and it's still equal. Well, let's say it's equal. Knight c4 and bc4. Well, white has a little advantage, but still nothing impressive. So this is not does not seem well. But other ranges give a already a good advantage to white. Rook c4, and then obvious choice h4, h5, gh5, knight h5. Okay. Still interesting that there are Stockfish likes a lot of the black white position. And he has everything kind of forced, I mean, for a while. And what? So let's see what happened. Okay, now the proposal is knight de2, but rook. Well, actually, I understand the maneuver why knight d2 because well, but also then after likes also rook hg1. They're also rather than rook dg1. But I see they all give a little better. It's worth it to write other alternative ways to conduce the attack because knight d2 is obviously what would the idea behind that would be this and this to exchange the knight on h5, which in the end is what I'd like to do. And on the other end, it turns out as in the game that the rook h1 is not doing anything most of the time in most variants, and it's better to move the rook d. So that's rook h to g1. So okay, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, let's show me this one and remove this one here. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Queen b6. Well, but in the end, well, queen b6 is a clear mistake, a bad blunder. I'll give you 2 questions mark. because in this position you have to play. You don't have to play 5. Why not? E6 to prevent knight d5, I guess. Prophylactic. Why? What happens after b5? b3, and then what? Rook c5. No, knight f5. Knight f5. Oh, these are the moves that are so difficult to find. Why I'm always afraid of playing a Cecilia White, because the strongest move here is one I think why there are twice. What if there is twice my name? Why am I analyzing twice? Come on, knight f5. What is knight f5? Komodo. Yeah. And are you serious? Are you serious? What has happened if I just take? Yeah, bh6. Okay, bh6. B takes. Then what? There is the knight must move. Cannot be defended easily. Yeah. Come on. f6, bishop g7, knight g7, and what? h5. I'm a piece down and I move the pawn. Oh, well. Yes. This is why. Really. And there is no good way to prevent h6. Now, king escape to f7, queen h6. Oh. What did I see? And I go to h6. And black is dead. So after b5, knight f5, you cannot take the. Well, there is only this. After this move, so you cannot take g takes go g5. So black has to take c3. Still doesn't look like very good to me. Bishop c3, b takes c3, rook h4, bishop h6. Still better for white. Still. So in the end, I guess, well, maybe b5 is not the best move after all in that position. Bishop h6, rook e8, queen d5, yes. Now that's h6. Oh, come on, h6, queen d6. In the meantime, of course, the g pawn on g6 is pinned by the rook on g1. Well, of course. Well, aren't there better move for black in this position? I can believe it. No, yes, yes, that's why. Mm, so I not say it equal, but because of that, because the good move here is, e6. Well, I'll give you an exclamation mark because I I wouldn't even think I would be fine. So actually white it goes with the obvious plan here, the same plan as before. Knight d e2, queen c7. I'd say, well, it was obvious now to play knight g f4 or knight g3, knight f4 probably, yes. Queen c7, queen f6, queen f6. Uh-huh. Queen f6, bishop h6, bishop h6, queen h6. Yes, it still seems well, it's still unclear to me actually. But what the why? Yeah, of course, because well, of course. Now let's see, because knight f4, yes, is what is maybe coming. But the obvious way to continue the attack. Now that's an interest. Now knight f4 actually is actually that what Stockfish proposed. Knight f4, knight f4, bishop f4, rook d4. Well, black has to be very careful here. Very careful. Queen e3, rook b4. Now, let's see what happened. Knight b3, bishop b4, rook d3, queen e3, rook c8. Now, why can't I play h5? Rook c8, h3, a3. What? Why 4? Now, this is, I understand why people like this kind of position, a lot of tactics, but in a familiar. Okay, but a5 is actually the suggested move in the end. a5, rook b4, and bishop d6. But, okay, but in the end, a3, because still a3. Why don't not just a5? Rook b4, of course, and then of the threat. Rook b4. That's a very interesting swing. And a counter move, rook b4, and now bishop d6, and then surprisingly queen c3, queen c3, bishop takes c3, bishop b4, bishop b4, ag6, fg6, rook g6, king f7. Now that's interesting. Where rook b4, bishop d6, queen c3, queen c3 takes c3, bishop takes c3, bishop b4, bishop b take b4, hg6, fj6, rook g, king f7. Now that's an interesting variant. Now, is that the only one? Knight f4, bishop f4, rook d3, queen a3, h8. Now, a3 is better because we prevent b4, rook b4, aimed against, no, that's not. No, aimed against. What did you do? No. Oh, stop it. No. What is this? That aim? That was aimed against the rook before. Yeah. It is worse, of course. A3. Oh, come on. What happened here? What did you do? Why did you do this to me? Okay, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, whatever. A3, rook c3, bishop takes bc3, rook c4, h5. Still interesting. Rook c4, rook c3, bishop c3, rook c4, h5, rook c3. No, now you're serious. Queen a5. Why can't? Oh, come on. Rook takes c3, a5. Really? That's the best. What you would play here. e5, queen a5, queen a5. Now, who would see that in the real? No, that who would play that? Now that's why e5, queen e5. That's fascinating. E5. We should be okay, kind of. And this is a really not what is happening here. E6. Black here has to play in this position. Black has to find. No, there isn't even. Actually, there are other moves. Rook e8 would be better. Now, rook e8 also probably, but well. Queen b. Let's move on in the game. Queen b6. That's a mistake. So there are actually two moves. There are the engine just now knight d5. Knight d5. Knight d5. Rook d4. Knight takes b6. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I now to knight d5. I would go back with a queen to d8. Why? What? Well, because knight d5 is also a shorter way to knight f4. Of course, knight d5. Let's see if it goes back. Knight f5. Not. Oh, come on. Come on, knight f5 here. Bishop f5. a5. Oh, come on. And what about just an f4? Is it losing? Oh, that's losing. Knight f4. That's stupid, beyond belief, because that bishop e3 would be overcharged. You know what? Give me a break. and the e2 is strong enough, isn't it? Is strong enough in this position to read. I have enough hairy variant. I'm not going to. Well, but for completeness, I will in this position anyway. Rook c5. That's of course an interesting way to try to defend yourself. But it doesn't change a lot actually. Well, nothing actually. Well, knight c3. No, it's actually better because this is even worse. Rook c5. No. Well, rook g5, rook f6. Isn't this bad? Isn't this winning? No, it's not. Knight f4. You cannot. Okay. There's one good thing about that. The reason why Queen b6 has been played is this, of course. Queen b6. Well, does create some threat that cannot be ignored. So after bishop, okay, let's go over and bishop bishop c3. 9 c3 is correct. Queen c6 is correct. And what was put here? 95. Okay, now 95 makes sense. Well, now okay, understand that in the end that I do have to make maneuver 95. But now rook a8 probably. And now knight f4 isn't the strongest move here. Still winning anyway. Knight f4, bishop e4, rook c8. Well, okay, you don't have to take, but knight f4, bishop e4, rook c8. Now c3 is the correct way to defend. In the end, what is played? c3, queen c3, queen c3, bishop. Well, of course, you just lose. It seems to me that you just lose a rook here. So it's probably just the same to go b, so e6, and then h5. Now that's interesting that now in this position, black resigns. Well, that seems obviously hopeless to me now. Rook e4 doesn't really now. I was actually think black would play something like this, but of course you just take. Now the check doesn't change anything. Queen c8, and now what? Take. Well. Well, use actually doesn't seem. It seems that you have to pay 70. Okay, now what if that's my variant is a desperado thing. Take. No, wait. Ah, yes, you do something desperado, how you say. Now, of course, that is kind of interesting. Let's see it. Let's say you take here Queen H6. Now there's only moves here. Queen H7. Ah, okay, and whatever you do is going to be made. But it's not that trivial even. Well, you now that Black resigned his position. Maybe I could have fight on because I would have to. They still have to find a mate. Of course, in a correspondence chess match. Chess, I would have found it probably. So I just think it wouldn't be. But let's check one thing. Now after knight e2, first let's see what happened after h5. No, after knight e4, this is bad because take, and if I take there is bishop c3. Of course, that's flawed. So rook c5. The answer, the correct move here, the good move is rook c5, g5. Oh, let's make it a new main line. Now rook fc8, and obviously rook hg1, queen a5, because that's proved that as a queen b6 was a bad move in the first place. Still, well, of course, the knight e2 is protecting, so I cannot move the knight from e2 because it's protecting the knight on c3. That's important. Not if no. What is that? What is that? Just a move is enough to lose. And rook hg1 and queen f5. Rook h1, queen f5, bishop c5, rook c5. Because there is still okay, let's leave it at it. No, but also, why can't I just after rook c5 take this bishop? Well, still would be good. Queen g5. No. Just have a quality for free. Queen g5. Equivalent is well, I'm not exploring this but better now. What is interesting that I'm afraid of doing is exploring this one. I say this is equivalent because the other one is also as good. Really, so the main move here is rook d4, knight take b6, rook takes. Did do this has already been analyzed? Well, yesterday, yes. Okay, and bishop d2, and this is the main line according to latest, according to the engine now. Now I read somewhere that the engine don't play nearly as good as I could be because well, because you have just to compare what the engine play in position that have been analyzed by the table basis with the best move. So they even, we know that in the strongest they are now, they don't find the best move in the position, best possible move. There's still something that is still beyond, still not possible. So that's queen, but I'd say queen d8. Now, and f4 is bad because, as we know, no, let's go, let's see knight 4, knight f4, and of course, yeah, there is nothing. Let's see, but queen d8, knight f5. Yeah, this is the main line. Knight f5. Yes. Then bishop take f5. I don't know, because g takes f5. That causes a problem with bishop h6. We know that. So bishop take f5, e take f5, just to, because and now, and of course then queen f5 is not possible. Queen h8. Now queen d3. Okay, just go. Bishop f5. Ace take f5. Now it just go on in the attack. Well, but no, this is position is already given as one. Hf5, b5, f take g6, a6. Of course, f5, b5. Will be now rook g5. That would be mine. Rook g5 and f6. Okay. There are several ways to continue the attack. Well, rook g5, e6, f6, f6, rook g6. Okay, whatever. Queen e8. Oh well, no. This is a really deep. That it is. There are so many. Okay, at least the late remaining moves, and I say that is best for black, good for white. Okay, now, but yes. Let's go back here and let's see what happened. H4 was the case that my opponent had gone with swindle, H6, bishop A2, F G6. Well, okay, F6, queen H2. That's very straightforward. pretty obviously. How I'm going to mate now. Well, but after g6, rook g6, king f7, f7, f7. Well, there is some. Well, is bishop d6 the only one? Well, well, of course not. What about rook h7? What about rook h7? Yes, what happened? Because you could take here. And you go queen h2. Well, and really, there is no defense against this. Well, you have to know. Yeah, there is really no defense about this. Really. No, not really equivalent. Yes, no, but in this position, bishop d6 also a desperado move. Now, if king h goes h8, well, let's see what happened. Queen h8. Well, you have to be sure that the king does not escape. Queen g5. And what happened after queen g5? Queen g5, take, rook h8, king b7. Okay, look horrible for rook h7. Okay, then it's over now. Well, you have to know how to mate. The king, queen d7 now, for instance, a6. Only rook e7, queen h7. Now, if rook f8, queen a7, of course, and yeah, mate. Thank you. Well, instead goes queen f6, rook h7, rook h6, king g6, and rook e6. Oh, or me. Yeah. Oh. Well, yes, of course. You have to know. The opponent gives me the chance to mate him. I don't know. Well, yes, respect that I would be able to mate it. I wouldn't. I guess so, but you can never be sure. But of course, when you see you generally, when you end up in a position that obviously lost, you don't feel like playing and torturing yourself and hoping that for some reason your opponent does not see the right move. But so that's probably what I would have done. Well, no, I probably would have played on. I would have played on in this position because I would have definitely played on and hoping to. So I generally want to test if my opponent can actually mate in this position, because it's easy to go overboard and sacrifices the hell everything, and then ended up not mating, and in the end. Okay, but that's over this game. Thank you for following, and I'll see you next game.